Now, the left, both here and in the US, are guilty of what is called projection. That is, they attribute to others what is in their own minds. Whether it's their obsession with racism or misogyny, the left is often guilty of the sins they attribute to their political opponents. And so it is with undermining democracy. It was the left that for years pursued a baseless conspiracy theory about Russian collusion to undermine the presidency of Donald Trump. And it was the left who engaged in deliberate and repeated acts of election interference, or as they prefer to call it, fortifying the election. We're now learning the full extent of that election interference and the role played by the FBI. Joining me now to discuss the assault against the democratic process in the US is Senior Fellow at the Hudson Institute and leading political analyst, Michael Doran. Michael, we heard Facebook founder Mark Zuckerberg reveal the extent of the FBI's complicity in burying legitimate news stories. Have a listen.
The background here is the FBI, I think, basically came to us, some folks on our team, and was like, hey, just so you know, like, you should be on high alert. We thought that there was a lot of Russian propaganda in the 2016 election. We have it on notice that basically there's about to be some kind of dump of that's similar to that. So just be vigilant.
Michael, this is just unbelievable because we know the FBI had Hunter Biden's laptop since December 2019. They knew perfectly well it wasn't some Russian disinformation campaign.
Yes, completely. I think you've got to ask two things about this admission by Mark Zuckerberg. One is, what does it tell us about what happened in the election? And the other is, why is Zuckerberg telling us this now? Let's go to that second question first, if you don't mind. While I believe everything he's saying, I think that what this is here is a limited hangout. I don't know if that phrase made it to Australia. That dates back to the Watergate scandal here. A limited hangout is when when the government has been telling you lies, and then the truth starts to get discovered, and you modify your story a little bit in order to account for what people know. So I think that Zuckerberg was pretty deeply involved in the suppression of the truth during the campaign, and maybe even more than that. You know, he spent some $400 million, which went to NGOs in the election on a get out the vote project, which yes, ostensibly was nonpartisan, but he's accused of those NGOs having taken over local government election offices and used it to the advantage of the Democrats. But I don't know the truth of that. We're going to find out, and that's why I think this is about. Meaning, if he's looking ahead, Zuckerberg is looking ahead to the elections, the midterm elections in November, and he's concerned that if the Republicans take the House and the Senate, there's going to be a wave of very serious investigations by Congress, by the Republican Party, which can carry out those investigations if has the majority, and they're going to be looking into him. So he's changing the story a little bit to be a victim here.
Well, and you're absolutely right. He spent $419 million to fortify the election in 2020, just a remarkable sum to boost the vote in those urban areas where the Democrats dominate. And I don't think there's been enough scrutiny about the role he personally played in the 2020 election. And of course, he's got the powerful position at Facebook as well. Now, right, we know the laptop wasn't Russian propaganda, but then we saw a real misinformation campaign launched by the media and intelligence officials pushing the lie that the New York Post bombshell stories were propaganda. I mean, is American democracy under threat right now? What can be done to ensure this doesn't happen again and that we don't have government bodies like the FBI become so hopelessly politicised?
Well, it's scary, Rita. It's really scary. I'm 60 years old. I've never seen anything like this in this country. I think at least half, it's probably more, but let's be judicious. At least half of America now regards the FBI as a wholly politicized organization, which is enforcing the law to work to the advantage of the Democrats. So the organization is profoundly illegitimate in the country now. That's very dangerous in and of itself, and I don't see. The thing that I find surprising about this moment we're in is that I don't see wise voices on the Democratic side saying, hey, is this really what we should be doing? I worked in the White House of George W. Bush, and every 6 months we had ethics training, and we had to sign a kind of ethics declaration. And one of the things that they drummed into us over and over and over again is that the appearance of an ethics violation for someone in the government is an ethics violation. And I really kind of took that to heart. And it's amazing to me that there aren't people out there saying about the FBI, even if they believe that the FBI has been sincerely investigating Donald Trump, which I don't believe for a second. But there are people, I talk to Democrats all the time, who actually believe that these are sincere law enforcement officials doing a sincere job. Even if they believe that, when half the public thinks you're a politicized actor, that's very dangerous. And we could start seeing some very, very unpleasant things happening here as a result of that.
And just finally, do we have half the population or whatever the Democrats make up seeing the re-election of Donald Trump as akin to the death of democracy? Is that the attitude of the Democrats, that they've got this whatever it takes mindset, that they don't mind the FBI behaving in this manner, they don't mind legitimate stories being suppressed, they don't mind the free press being censored, as long as Donald Trump is not re-elected? Or any Republican, really?
I think that's basically, especially with Donald Trump, I think that's definitely a very prevalent attitude among our elite. It was interesting, Sam Harris, a prominent intellectual, last week or the week before in a conversation with Jordan Peterson, or no, I'm sorry, it was not in a conversation with Jordan Peterson. I'm mixing up my Sam Harris conversations. He was asked this, and he made the mistake of admitting the truth. And he basically said, that I don't care if they found dead children in the basement of Hunter Biden. What Donald Trump did, and when asked what did Donald Trump do, Harris specifically pointed to Trump University, one of a failed project of Donald Trump's before he was ever in government. That's the proof that he's so horrible that it doesn't matter. Hunter Biden can kill and molest children, and that's not as bad as Trump University. So that was an amusing moment because he was honest enough to actually admit what he was thinking. But of course, what the FBI is doing, the Department of Justice is doing, is that they are always giving us at every stage, a plausible rationale for this campaign that they're running. So they have a dossier, or 50 intelligence professionals say this is Russian disinformation, and so on. And they keep running this play over and over again. You remember it started with Mike. Well, it started before Mike Flynn, but remember after Trump was elected, Mike Flynn, his national security advisor designate, had a conversation with the Russian ambassador here, Kislyak, which the national security bureaucracy, politicized elements of the national security bureaucracy, presented as some kind of threat, some kind of collusion with Russian, when he was actually doing his job. That's what an incoming national security advisor should do. He should be talking to representatives of foreign governments. Yeah. But they keep running this play, and people keep going along with it. It's kind of shocking.
It is shocking, and it's scary times for democracy in the US. It really is. Michael Doran, thank you so much for your insights tonight.
Thank you.